And a good morning to you. Lanny Ford, Rembert along with you here on the bottom line. Looks like we're getting just a small taste of fall. Just a small taste of fall. I like it. I always, Miss Kay always posts to me in the mornings, and she said, "Gonna be about time to put up those shorts." I said, "No, ma'am, that doesn't happen. That's a year-round thing. I don't really give up the shorts.
Man.
It's got to get pretty darn cold." I remember years ago when I burnt wood, I could remember going out and it being cold to get wood for the stove in shorts and flip-flops. Now, I don't do the flip-flops anymore. Got too much nerve stuff going to
on
me.
Your feet, though, putting in cold water like that. I do that in the pool in the winter, when I jump in or whatever, but I stand after I freeze to death for like 2 minutes in the water. I get out and then stand in that cold water.
Yeah.
It's done. It's there's something to the cold water therapy. All right, how about this? I'm teeing off at 7 a.m. at Beach Creek down outside of Sumter.
Oh, okay.
Right, because we got the family reunion this weekend.
Okay.
So Rob and I are playing. My brothers can't go down early. Me and G are going down.
Rob Rembert?
Yeah. The Rob Rembert.
The Rob
Wilson,
Rembert.
my cousin, who, whatever. But
Stop it. He's Rob Rembert.
Yeah, he is. According to Woody.
He's a Rembert.
That's so funny. Woody started laughing. He said, "I had no idea." I said, "Hey, man, you just blessed that boy. You blessed him."
He's a Rembert. Yep, so, there's no doubt about it.
But cooler weather down there, Lanny. We're tee off. It's going to be 47.
That'd be nice. Oh, it's going to be nice.
Yeah.
I know that we'll still probably have a little warmer weather. But one of the things I noticed yesterday about I went outside about 6:15 when the shadows were starting to come over.
Right.
It was nice.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really, even though it got up, I think, to 82 yesterday, it was nice. It doesn't take long for it to cool off and you get late afternoon.
Right.
And the late afternoon actually feels better than the mornings to me.
Holy cow, Lanny. 81 on Sunday. Hold on. 78 Saturday, 81 Sunday. Well, not here. Hold on. But the point is, high 70s. All right, Saturday and Sunday. Monday, 70. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 64, 63. Let's go. Let's go.
I'm ready. I never have a complaint about cooler weather. You just don't see that.
So my cousin that will not be attending the reunion lives down in Florida, and he's got a family farm near the church there. He and his dad, and just where they all grew up or whatever, and outside where the reunion is, down outside of in Rembert, outside of Sumter or whatever. I talked to him a couple of nights ago, and again a little bit last night texting. He is in charge of emergency management down in that portion of Florida where some things are.
Tampa's getting ready to get hammered.
Well, now they haven't been hit since 1921.
I know.
Okay, and so
they kind of got a glancing blow from Helena, but not. It wasn't like this.
Yeah, it wasn't direct hit. That's what they were talking about. It hadn't been direct hit since 21, and that's it's over 100 years, but still it doesn't. And I guess with all this stuff happening, especially down at the beach 3 or 4 weeks ago when they had the 20 inches of rain just unexpectedly with a tropical depression, unnamed storm.
Right.
Or, not depression, but a tropical whatever they call it. And then this, it goes to show you that as we live longer, more things are going to show up. And it's these things that happen on some random Tuesday that a lot of times are what impact us the most. It's not the things we actually worry about.
But what people don't understand, and the first thing that you said when you talked about, this hadn't happened since 1921, 100 years ago. Folks, this isn't the first time. And the other thing that we don't know, we don't understand the number of massive major storms that came through here before records were kept.
That's kind of what they were talking about in Avery County, that there's a lot of – I say a lot – there's places there that have rock beds that are dry, and they couldn't figure out, well, it used to be a stream here, what happened? But with the records they got, it can only go back so far, and they can think and hypothesize and try to get them. Now they understand
there are rivers that have moved this weekend.
That's what I'm talking about. So now they understand, and I say they, I'm talking about people that, the geologists and, the archaeologies and, teams and everything, and, people just nature in general, park rangers, whatever.
Yep.
And it answered a lot of questions about why things look like they used to be that way, and who knows how long ago. And, okay, why is that there? Because that river or that waterfall is over there. Well, I think we got a lot of those questions answered.
I can tell you, we had a pretty good creek that was down below our house when I was growing up. And I can promise you, I could take you down there now, 60-some years ago, and show you where it used to be because it's moved. Because it would flood.
Okay.
And when it would flood and recede, it may not be in the same place.
Because of the sediment, that would make it reach. I got you.
And that's what's going on up here, except the part that we're seeing in the mountains, now it's been rerouted by boulders and huge rocks. And people don't understand. I don't think people really understand the power of water.
Well, if they watch the videos this week,
I mean, you see it. You see it. And talking about Tampa, Tampa's looking at could be up to a 20-foot storm surge.
Yeah.
And if you do the sea level stuff, 20 feet goes really deep off the shorelines when you're talking about at sea level.
Yeah,
I mean, 20 feet's a long way.
It is, and there's gonna, obviously the storm's gonna move really quick, and it's predicted to continue to weaken as it gets closer to Tampa and be a 3 when it hits. But understand that only a 3, which I'm using that word only, is still 125-mile-an-hour winds, right? Based on what I'm reading and seeing, with Weather Channel reports and all this stuff, and talking to my cousin Davison, and they're just preparing for the worst.
You can do whatever you want to prepare, but you're not going to prevent it. Yeah. I mean, you're just not going to prevent it. I'll ask you a question because you lived up there. I mean, we got a radio station up there, but I don't spend enough time up there because it's not one of my favorite places, which is Asheville.
Right.
Explain to me how the people in Biltmore Village get insurance and they allow them to keep building. There's a Wendy's right there in the bottom of it.
Yeah.
I saw video that you could see about 2 foot of the building, and you wouldn't have known what it was except for the sign that was above. I mean, you were talking about 15, 20-foot water.
Yeah, which is.
And it does it on a regular basis.
Not that, like, it does flood, but it's normally in that 1 to 2 to 3 foot, which most of the buildings are out there. My cousin went to UNCA, 30 years ago and stayed up there and started a microbrewery there in the village, okay? And, that was something that they constantly had to, deal with, be on the lookout for. And, Laney, this was
14,000.
Like a storm of just magnitude, right? And to your point, with all that coming in and being that high, this is so unlikely that it has to be something catastrophic in order for what to happen. And what we all got to remember is when we look at things and questions may come up, why do they build there, or why do they do this? Most of these people, most of them, because you can't get building permits issued in floodplain unless you build on stilts, kind of like you do. And you still got a lot to do with that. Most of these people were very well out of the floodplain. When it floods and rains up there to get 6, 8, 10 inches on, like when a hurricane comes through, they're ready for, 7 to 8 to, whatever foot rise in. I'm just giving an example, like they're in Marshall, North Carolina. Like they're used to the flooding part. I mean, they built a high school on the island out there that I was telling you about, that's been there, 100 years. And they had flooding, and they were, ready for it. Well, and just dealt with it and dug out and then, went on back. This is of epic proportions. Like
14,000 years was what I had read.
Well, and I'm sure that is a safe estimate.
Yeah, because we don't have records that far back.
And there's people just call it a 1,000-year storm because, it's, it is what it is. But when these things happen, it's kind of like, saying, well, why did you build a house at the beach? Things happen. Okay,
and it going in,
and the possibility is always there for anything to go on or to go wrong. People talk about percentages. When it comes down to it, everything is 50-50. It either happens or it doesn't. You can talk the probability of why it might happen,
right?
But in the end, as one of my high school football coaches was telling us when we were playing AC Reynolds. He said, "Look, they are a really good football team to rank such and such in the state. We are not. But when we go out on the field, there's a 50-50 chance.
That's right.
And so you have to go out. Speaking of AC Reynolds, Brian Craig, who was a longtime baseball coach up there, he's from Reynolds, actually played against him in high school. He's a year older than I am. He went to LR. I think I told this story last week, right? He went to LR, played baseball at LR for 4 years from like 89 to 93. He was a pitcher, and he's a fantastic human being. He taught at East Burke for a couple years after he did student teaching, and then went back home to AC Reynolds. Coached baseball there for a long, long time. Did a great job. When I was at Irwin High School, we played AC Reynolds every year, twice a year in non-conference. Brian and I became good friends. We coached the state games together. A lot of history there. He coached football. He's the offensive coordinator for a few years. Then he became the defensive coordinator, never the head coach. He loved being part of football, but loved being the head baseball coach too. Very involved, active, just a wonderful man. Still is. He got his wife and children out of the house.
Yeah, I remember now.
Okay? I think I told you about this. Parents, house got washed away. Aunts and uncle, just family members gone. Yeah. He lost 10 family members.
I think I saw this
morning.
morning.
This is incredibly sad, and he's a wonderful person.
The storm itself, 260 deaths, but that's still that's going to be changing for weeks. Still trying to find. I'll ask you this, and you'll know this because you kind of are in that business, so to speak. The sad part about this is I'm going to guess that the majority of the people that this affected, where they lost everything, insurance won't cover it because it doesn't take care of rising water unless you've got flood insurance.
No, but the thing about it is it's out of all these homes, I say all of them, majority of them were out of the flood zone. Mm-hmm. And what was deemed the flood zone. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of fine print that we have to read when banks are issuing loans. Mm-hmm. Okay, and there's a lot of talk about global warming and rising seas and all this. There's nothing in the fine print, okay, about, building houses at the beach. They recommend flood insurance, but there's nothing in there that talks about rising seas or anything. It talks about you're not covered for flooding.
Right.
Okay, so, the point is there's a lot of talk about this and that and the other, and the bottom line is they don't cover flooding unless you actually have flood insurance. Like with our place at the beach.
And it specifically states that when you look at homeowners
insurance. Yes, it does. I mean,
it's a big, large print to make sure there's no doubt in anybody's mind.
There's no reason for any of those people living up there to ever think that the Swannanoa River, or whatever river, the Cane River, the Tow River.
The Swannanoa is one that absolutely amazed me because I went to 4-H camp in Swannanoa, to the 4-H camp up there, and we went swimming, canoeing out on the river, but I just never thought of it as that big.
Their house is this close.
Yeah.
To the edge of where the river carved out and its bank dropped.
Yeah.
They're this close.
Yeah.
So up there where Mark is and some of those, all these other people, it's these people have nowhere, and they're not going to rebuild.
Right.
So where are they going?
I know.
So what you will see very likely is generational housing coming back.
Yep.
Where people
relocate to a different area.
3 generations.
Yeah.
Live in a home.
Yep.
You got the cost of things. You got the cost of inflation.
Mm-hmm.
You got wages that don't keep up with it.
And you don't have any insurance to start.
That's right. And interest rates are not good.
Mm-hmm.
You really have nowhere to go. And it's not good, Laney.
Now, I'll tell you, this was something because my wife and I argued about this. We'll get to sports eventually, I promise. There was a piece of land here in Maiden that I wanted to purchase. It's a really good price. I thought it would be a great place to build us a downsized house. And if you look at it, it's near the floodplain, but just a tad of it, once across the street, was in the 100-year flood zone.
Yep.
My wife would have no part of it because it was in a flood zone. Right. I said, this is the 100-year, and it still don't come to where we would place the house. So needless to say, a very smart businessman purchased that and then resold it and did well with it. And I noticed when all the water came up in this 14,000-year flood, it didn't cross the road. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying. I hate to say that I was right this time, but can't quite argue with that one. All right, let me go to sports. One team left in the NFL undefeated.
Minnesota Vikings, baby.
Nope. Is it? You sure?
I think they're 5-0.
Yes, they are. 2 teams. I'm sorry. 2 teams.
Yeah, it should be the Vikings and then the Chiefs. So AFC, NFC. Yeah, that's right.
NFC North and the AFC West, I guess it is. Yep.
It is.
Is 2-0. There is, don't think there's a.
Last night the clock didn't run the Chiefs game, and it should have. That boy's not out of bounds technically. They got pushed out of bounds, but the clock should have been going, and they ended up getting a field goal out of it. I'm telling you.
There's no team in the NFL without a win. But there are some teams that maybe would surprise you. Did you see do you watch College Game Day?
Yeah.
Did you see what Nick Saban said?
About Vanderbilt?
No, about was it Marshawn Lynch was with the Seattle?
He was the guest picker.
Okay.
Yeah.
He told him, he said, I would have give you the ball on the goal line, taking a shot at Pete Carroll. He said, I don't know what anybody was thinking not to give you the ball on the goal line. And I thought that was a great
That's funny.
you're finding
That's
out,
funny.
and maybe I haven't seen Bill on anything because I don't watch
Bill
all of the shows.
Belichick.
Yeah.
Oh, he's on with Peyton and Eli on Monday Night
Okay.
Football on ESPN2.
Okay.
Yeah, so I watch it every.
But Saban has really come out as a really great
He's incredible.
studio
He's
person.
incredible.
I mean, his knowledge.
Yeah.
And then the biggest thing about it that you probably wouldn't have thought of is his personality.
Yeah.
You didn't think that he had one. And
That's what everybody said.
I'm trying to think.
That worked for him, Jimbo Fisher. I'm like, man, where's this guy been?
I'm trying to think. I think it was on the Dan Patrick show. They would always try to get former players to tell stories.
Oh, yeah.
And the best went on Saban, and then Dan Patrick called him out on it when Saban was on. He said one of Saban's favorite saying was when he would finish up with something, he'd say, what are you talking about, these nuts? And that was something that you wouldn't think your head coach. And Patrick asked him about it, and you could hear him snicker in the background because he knew it was true, and there were other players had told him that too. But it's nice to see coaches be real, you know, and a lot of times they just got to get out of that environment.
Yeah,
you have a different personality and a different mindset when you're in there.
Well, I mean, I think, the kids, over the years can tell, when we're on the field and when we're in business mode, that's where it's at. And when it's time not to be that way, then the humanistic side, appears. But it's everybody's different how they handle things. And, great CEOs are great entertainers. And Saban was a great entertainer on the sideline, and it was passion, not emotion. And people that don't understand that think that it's aggression. And that's not what that is.
Well, you said all the time, play with emotion, don't play emotional.
Right, play with passion.
There's a difference.
Right, and don't play emotional. And I stole that from Saban. And, following him, like, I'm not an Alabama fan.
Yep.
I'm a Nick Saban fan.
Yep.
And
I am now.
kind
of like Tom Brady. He's human too.
Yeah, he's turned out to be a really good dude, man.
Not crazy about him working as a color analyst, but other than that, I'm good.
And I think the thing that, like, he and Romo and some of the guys that have actually played, they just bring perspective. Mm-hmm. Sometimes a little too detailed with some of them, but it's better to have too much of something than not enough.
Sure.
And Greg Olson does a good job of that.
Because I think Olson's great at it, and it was easy. Now, like Jason Witten, he was terrible. He couldn't make that transition.
Well, that's not what he does, though.
Right.
He's a football player, but Jason Witten, with the things that he's experienced and been around, when he finds a way to articulate that, and if it can be done, he has a lot of information to share and a lot of insight.
He probably would be better as a studio analyst than a game analyst.
No problem.
I mean, everybody can't do that.
Problem.
I want to go ahead and just mention this, get this on record. This is being recorded. My wife said, okay, one time you were right.
All right, it's 8:21.
Well, okay, it's all recorded. It's on YouTube. It's on Facebook. It's down for posterity. It'll be there forever, just in case you're wondering. Let me take a quick break.
Man, you must be, like, really – have you been pleasant the last several days?
Amazingly pleasant.
Because that was
I know.
This is a once-in-a-lifetime.
We got to get out of here about
14,000
8:45 because I've got to go meet an inspector, and then I've got to go to the Social Security office and straighten out some things there so that I can get my Medicare. Back in a moment.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com. At Stifel Nicholas, we're committed to offering investors personalized investment guidance. We're a full-service organization with departments staffed with professionals that specialize in a wide range of investment opportunities, from the most conservative to the most aggressive. We strive to give each account, regardless of size, careful, individual attention. Call 4Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC and the New York Stock Exchange. We are back. We are back. I will tell you one more quick story here. Just stories today. Back in the day, since I'm old, when people did things, my real name is not Lanny. That is my nickname.
Right.
It's always been. My real name is Landon. And when my mother signed me up for school, she signed me up as Lanny. Mm-hmm. When my mother signed me up for a Social Security number, she signed me up as Lanny. Yeah, and my first Social Security card was Lanny C. Ford. Mm-hmm. Well, when I log into my Social Security account through the portal, it says Lanny C. Ford. But I thought I straightened that out many years ago. Mm-hmm. I have a new Social Security card I've had for years that says Landon C. Ford III, which is my legal name.
True.
And so I opened my account. I made my application for retirement. No benefits, just the Medicare portion. Mm-hmm. I get a phone call from Durham, from the person that's working it. Mm-hmm. And when she called me and we started talking, the first thing I said is, I know why you're calling. She said, you do? And I said, yep, my name don't match. She said, you're right. She said, we can make this work. I said, no, we're not making this work. I said, you tell me what I need to do. I said, I got a Social Security card that says Landon C. I said, but you tell me what I need to do to get this right. Mm-hmm. And she said, you need to go to a local office. Okay. And you need to take a certified birth certificate
Yep.
and a photo ID,
Yep.
driver's license and my birth certificate. And she said they will make the change right there, get that updated. And she said, if you can get, this was yesterday, she said, you get that done tomorrow. She said, I'll process your application on Wednesday.
Cool.
Got you. So
Let's go.
I'm going to the Social Security office. I'm just hoping it's not like the driver's license office.
What time do you go by there today?
They open at 9. As soon as I finish with the inspector, I'm heading
Right,
up
then
there.
you're heading up there?
Yeah.
Well, if you get done, call me. We'll go eat lunch.
Okay. I'm hoping I'm not there that long.
Well, but
yeah.
you know what?
Yeah,
you know what's
yeah,
going
yeah.
to happen.
Yeah.
So just call me and we'll meet somewhere.
Yeah. Let me just, I'm hoping I don't spend a half a day up there, but I don't want to just, that's okay, we'll use that. I want to make it right. I don't want any hiccups because I've heard those stories.
Yep.
And then one final backstory. My dad is Landon Carter Ford Jr.
Yes.
His dad was Landon Carter Ford.
Mm-hmm.
When my dad went in the Navy after his mom died, they messed up his name. And it became Lander, Lander, C. Ford. Never got changed. When I buried my dad, my mother insisted that I put Lander C. Ford on his tombstone, his obituary. And I said, that is not his name, but that's what he had always been from the age of about 16, 17 when he joined the Navy.
That's an
And
incredible
back
story.
then, it didn't matter, but all of his paperwork worked. You know what I'm saying? I don't know that when Dad got, I don't know if he ever had a birth certificate. I mean, Dad was born 26 in a house. He was born at home. My mother was too, born at home in Krause. So I don't know how that worked. Kim's dad, Jack, never had a birth certificate.
Whoa.
Where he was born in Newport News, Virginia.
Right.
The hospital burned and lost all the records.
Of course it did.
Not long after that.
Of course it did.
And he had some struggles with the Social Security office when he went to get his retirement because he didn't have a birth certificate.
Yeah, he wasn't
But the
there.
only thing that worked, he had his Army papers. Where he went in the Army, his discharge papers.
Yeah.
And the discharge papers from Armed Services will go a long way as far as identification is concerned.
100%. Yeah.
But so you got to get that stuff straight. And then the other side of that, when I first started getting credit young, they would confuse my account and my dad's account because they didn't use Social Security numbers back then. It was just names and the
That's
credit
way-
bureau just
that
wrote
happens
it
to me
down.
and my dad and Quinn.
Yeah. But so if you have stuff like that, I know you say I waited to the last minute, but it should be easy enough to take care of because I've got the paperwork. But make sure when that time comes that you got all your ducks in a row, and things will work. Let me get just a little bit of college football before we get out of here. Excuse me. Because
It's messed up.
what?
College football.
Oh, college football was great this weekend.
We had a lot of top 10s that are,
There were 5 top 25 teams that got beat, if I'm not
I
mistaken.
mean, okay. I think it's great.
I do
I'm
too.
going to tell you something. People say coaching doesn't matter and athletes make plays. There's truth to that. But the greatest example of coaching and managing a team was Vanderbilt this weekend.
And on the pro side, the failure, except for this weekend, the failure of Sam Darnold, he's put up some pretty decent numbers in a different environment. It happens.
Yeah, and then of course, the thing with Shanahan, I can't let that go for firing Steve Wilkes.
Yeah.
That their defense
Yep.
was not the problem last year,
Nope.
and it's not the problem this year.
Nope.
But hey, say what you want. No problem. Have an opinion.
Yep.
Not bashing anybody, just telling you what I believe is true.
Some of the upsets from last weekend, last Friday, UNLV at number 25 got beat by Syracuse, 44-41 in overtime. And the big one was Vandy over Alabama, 40-35.
Yes.
Arkansas over Tennessee, 19-14. That's a number 1, a number 4. And Miami barely escaped Cal, 39-38.
Oh, it's crazy.
My favorite game of the week was the butt whooping that Texas A&M put on Drinkwater, 41-10.
You got a lot of malice there, Lee. A lot of malice.
I don't mind. I'll admit it.
A lot of malice.
That's why my Mountaineers are in the shape they're in because of that 1 year thing that he did, and they scrambled and maybe didn't make the proper hire. But
so when you hire somebody, and people, can have opinions about App State and everything. For somebody like him, it is a transitional job. Mm-hmm. All right, with his potential capabilities, things he can do. I'm talking about Drinkwitz. When you hire him, you have to understand if you have a good year, there's a good chance he's going to leave. And because your pedigree, you would hope that you could bring the next person in. But I'm telling you, they missed on who needs to be there.
I know, and they missed a couple of times.
And that is not good. And it's just like East Carolina. Yeah, I like Mike Houston as much as anybody that I've ever coached against. Mm-hmm. Okay, or that has been at ECU. And we've had some good ones over the years.
Well, he took a whipping from Charlotte.
Okay, but if you want to be a top-tier program, you have to pay top-tier money. Mm-hmm. And if you don't, then you're asking your fans to be loyalist and fall on the sword, kind of like politics, okay, versus you going out and hiring and investing into the program where the benefits are likely to be astronomical after you make the initial investment. Mm-hmm. This whole thing, there's a reason you are where you are.
Yeah. Couple more surprises. This was one of the ones that surprised me. Washington, Michigan. Washington was a 1.5-point favorite, unranked. Yeah. Michigan, a number 10 rank. Washington beat them by 10, 27-17. Ole Miss back on the winning ways as they beat South Carolina. I enjoyed that game a lot.
It was a good game.
Just in case anybody's wondering. Of course, Clemson beat Florida State.
South Carolina played hard, Laney. I mean, they just don't have the overall weapons and no answer to Jackson Dart and to Ole Miss's defense too.
Let me tell you what I told a friend of mine. We go to church. We grew up together and haven't seen each other many, many years till we got together down here at church. He's from Cherryville. Mm-hmm. He's a big South Carolina fan. Mm-hmm. And I told him, watching South Carolina play, what it appears to me that one of their problems are there's no discipline on that team. You can see it in how the players react and play. It just doesn't seem like they're all pulling in the same direction. There's a lot of individual things going on. I
completely agree. It's like Alabama's team, on watching that game. Mm-hmm. People say, yeah, but at the end that guy acted up, that there's an issue. Let me tell you something. The issues were way before that incident or set of incidents about that one person happened.
That should never be an option.
That's where that's why they were in the predicament they were in.
Yeah.
Okay, and what the guy on the other sideline did is he took advantage of their frustration and kept doing things he advances the football. Okay? He doesn't try to do anything fancy, even though his the plays that they have were very dynamic and very creative and inventive, but they are against what Alabama's defense was giving them. Mm-hmm. You can run all the zone defense and match up man that you want, but when you don't have enough people out there to guard, if they got 3 to 4 people flooding that zone and you've got 2 covering them or 3, there's one that's going to be open. And if you have a quarterback that's disciplined, when it's a run-pass option, when he's out on the corner, out on the edge, I don't care how athletic you are, the pieces don't match up. That's like trying to pin in chess, trying to pin a king with pawns. Mm-hmm. You can't. Theoretically, you might be able to do it, but realistically, that ain't gonna work.
The other thing, and you know this like I do, when you take a team like an Alabama or a Michigan, I'm thinking of a Penn State, these top-tier teams, even Clemson for that matter, when you take a top-tier team like that has so much talent, that's how they become a top-tier team. And I've said this in high school, Lincoln High School back in the day, Shelby High School back in the day. You've got to have a coach that knows how to manage those egos, that environment.
Jim Taylor.
Because it's different. When you've got that much talent on a football team, there's a lot of personality, ego. just like I've always said, when you talk about pro football, especially a head coach, even in college as a head coach, you don't coach as much as you manage because you've got a lot of things you've got to manage so that it meshes together with all the personalities. And that's where I think Alabama kind of came unglued.
Well, think of it like this, too. The local high school coaches that were great that did that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Shelby, Jim
there
Taylor,
forever.
All right, Scott, Cloninger, right?
Mm-hmm.
The thing that they did was they implemented, and I talk about this, the Navy SEAL model.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, can I trust you with my life?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that means you're a pretty good athlete, and you can save, to help the team, that kind of thing. Number two, most importantly, can I trust you with my money and my wife?
Right.
If there's any question at all about that, then that's not a team member.
Right.
The problem is you hear people make excuses. Well, we got to go with what we've got.
Mm-mm.
That's what we have.
Then you find the lever that you put on the field that have that perspective.
Not only will you not live up to your potential, but you will kill those around you.
Yes.
And I don't mean literally kill them.
Yeah.
I'm talking about
the desire,
the
desire.
Drive.
Yeah.
The 13 core principles of success. Desire is number one. That goes away when the people out there are not of the highest character. And you're only worried about one thing, that's winning, when actually what you're doing, you're setting yourself up for failure instead of success. You just can't take the process in the short term that is a lot of failure impacted that leads to success and the ultimate success down the road. I don't care what program you're at in North Carolina. I don't care where you are, okay, because I've been there and done that. You can go wherever, implement a strategy, okay, and I've seen them all over the state. I've coached down in Chocowinity, which is now Southside High School, which is down in the Sound on the other side of East Carolina, down in Little Washington, all right? And I've coached here in Catawba County. I've coached in Avery County, Madison County, and Buncombe County. And I've coached at all levels of high school with the exception of 4A. So I've been 1A and 2A and 3A with a diverse group of players or just a single set of not diverse players. And I can tell you, if you go in with the Navy SEAL philosophy, there's going to be some bumps early on. But what happens is everybody starts rising to the level of their training instead of falling to the level of their discipline, undisciplined.
Right.
And so you can take an average group of people and make them and help them be exceptional and continue to build if you do it that way. Or you can just say, well, I'm going to go with my horses and whatever happens, happens.
Right.
And that's okay, too. I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying that's the effective way. That's why the SEALs do the way they do.
Mm-hmm.
And, Lanny, that's why Dabo coaches the way he coaches. He really believes in what he's doing and what he's saying. Now, they've had some good success the last few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see if that continues on. We certainly hope it does. It's good for college football. It's good for the communities. It keeps people employed. We want these things to happen. But going back to you Panthers, it don't matter who's playing quarterback. People say, well, if anybody says that Bryce needs to be out there playing, look, it ain't got nothing to do with that position.
They've got way too many issues.
There is an epic failure all the way across the board.
From top management down.
And it's not the players. It's the performance of the players. They can only do what they can do. They were hired to do a job, and they're doing what they're coached and told to do because that's what you do when you're hired.
Mm-hmm.
It is. I went and watched it. Like, I'm sitting there watching the game. It's not a bright. When Andy came out and they did all these, new plays and quick outs and all these things, they could have done that with Hart. They could have done that with him.
Mm-hmm.
They could have done that with him. But it wins one game, but that's not the point. The point is to continue to get better. So when you're at week 10 and 11 and 12 and 13, you're getting better. I'm seing nothing but decimation.
They don't have the continuity,
and that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
the guys
I agree.
had 3 head coaches in a year. What do you want him to do?
Yeah,
Travis, he doesn't have character issues like Baker Mayfield had.
Right.
Baker, after being a journeyman, decided, you know what? I'm going to look inward.
I need to grow up
and start improving myself as a person.
Yep.
And what happened? Now his play on the field is elevated. Right. And there was never a question about his athleticism or his desire. He was a walk-on. He got shunned. He was upset. He did all these things to make, put himself in position. But the one thing he was lacking was the frontal lobe, closing that up.
Yep.
Well, now he's done that. Now look, there's so.
Travis came with a comment. West Lincoln played Bunker Hill. He said one thing you learned this weekend at Bunker Hill that they have some grown men on the football team. They're good and very underrated, in my opinion. And
Did West and Bunker play?
I think that was Saturday.
They played Saturday?
I
missed
so.
that, man. I
think that's right. Travis, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that was right. A couple other surprises. SMU and Cal seem to be better as the new additions to the ACC. As Southern Miss, SMU beat Louisville 34-27.
Really
Carolina 34-24 got beat by Pittsburgh. NC State got beat by Wake. I just don't know what's going on there. We talked about this Saturday a little bit. Mac Brown needs to come out and say, needs to talk to administration and say, look, how about just bumping me up to one of your chief fundraisers? You told the stories about Mac Brown. But Mac needs to retire, not leave any lingering doubts. Don't wait to the end of the season. Go ahead and start planning for the future, because he is not your future if you're going to bring that program back.
No, he was transitional.
Yeah.
To get the interest back into Carolina football, which he's done. The best thing that could happen is for Nick Saban to be the sole commissioner of college football, and then have Mac Brown and 3 or 4 other of the gentlemen that are true, about college football, Lou Holtz, and have a like an advisory committee, but he makes the decision.
Yeah.
Why would when you look at things, what would be the argument not to do that from a maturity standpoint? I'm not talking about, fall on the sword, love my team, I'm a Georgia fan, he would screw everybody over here because he's an Alabama. If one thing he has shown is that he is about growth and development, and when it stopped being about that and was more about how much money am I getting, what did he do? He got out.
Well, and the other thing is you'll find with Nick Saban, I think, and I got to get out of here, Nick Saban would be a guy that would be loyal to the task he was given.
Yes.
He would not be partial. He would be loyal. And the reason he would be is because of his love for the game. One of the reasons he got out was for the love of the game.
He would fix all this overnight.
I think he would,
He
too.
would go in and fix it. And the thing about it is, you have all these other hands that are now sticking their paws into the cookie jar, okay?
Yep.
And, a lot of money is going to exchange hands and be lost if you have a commissioner come in and just cut the cord and say, we're not doing this anymore.
Yep.
This is what we're doing. And he's not against people making money.
No.
What he's against is the decimate of human character and growth and development that's taking the place of with the money being presented.
You're correct.
And you can achieve both.
Yeah.
And it may not be all of what you want, but remember, you didn't build the platform. Okay, you didn't provide the platform. You're just going out and executing the skill. Mm-hmm. And so people may or may not like that point of view or the way that, that is being presented here. But the point is, who took all the risk? And are you a sole benefactor because of your performance? And if the answer is yes, that's okay too. There's a way to make that work, but not solely you. Because I don't care how far you can throw it, how fast you can run, all right, how strong you are. It takes 10 other people around you in football to make these things happen. Football was never meant to be played like basketball,
but this,
like fast break basketball. It wasn't.
This will be routed. It will be righted because it's got to play itself through so that people see what it really takes to get to where you need to.
Yeah, it's like
we're just in the beginning stages.
I agree 100%. But football is not meant to be played like fast break basketball. Because of the parameters and dynamics of the field and the way things are lined up. You can do that and it's exciting, but consistently you can't do that. You have that's why they have 8 to 10 yards, 1 to 3 yards of play moving forward, advancing instead of wow, did you see how far he threw it? Look how fast he is and did it. You run into somebody that is equal or maybe even a little better.
Right,
you got problems.
Right,
big problems. You can't go up and hit them in the mouth. You lose. Bottom line.
Got to go. I got somebody important I got to see.
Yes, we do.
See you later.